Hi honeys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat and today I'm doing my biggest disappointments of 2020. So I'm going to be a little salty in this video because these are the books that I had really high expectations for and that I thought I was going to love, and they let me down. So these are not my worst books of the year because some of these aren't even rated that low. Like maybe I gave them 3 stars, which isn't bad comparatively, but I expected them to be like 5 stars or, you know, new favorites, and they just weren't. So we're gonna start out from number 10 and work our way up to number 1. So number 10, Mexican Gothic. So this is a Victorian Gothic feeling novel where there's a haunted house. There is a protagonist who is going to save her cousin. Something weird is happening in the house, and I was expecting to feel completely blown away and sucked in by this super creepy setting, and instead I just kind of felt lukewarm. So I thought that it was slow to start, and then the twists were rather obvious, and the ending was a complete mess. So actually I gave this 3 stars, but it could have been so much better. I really think that if the beginning had been tightened and the end had been just rewritten, this could have been absolutely amazing. So I will be reading more from this author, but this one was just not it for me. Number 9 is a very controversial one. This is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. So I know that everyone is really loving this novel right now, and I just have to be honest. So the writing style and the pacing just really wasn't for me. So this is following a group of men who in their younger years hunted in an area they weren't supposed to, and then the elk that they shot and killed is hunting them down later to take revenge. Now, the premise is amazing, and Jones's imagination is top-notch. However, I felt like the story was so slow, that I almost put it down a few times, and the only reason I didn't was because I wanted to see what everyone else was loving about it. So for me, the pacing was just way off. But I will be reading more from Jones, specifically Night of the Mannequins. I really want to read because it's shorter form and also deals with creepy store mannequins, which I think could be really terrifying. So number 8 is Hither Page by Sebastian. Sebastian is a romance writer, and I usually love what she writes. However, this one was not it. This is kind of a cozy mystery set in a small town where there is the town doctor and a spy with PTSD, and they're supposed to have a romance, and there's also a mystery and a murder that they're trying to solve. Honestly, I was so confused by the murder. I, to this day right now, don't understand what happened or who did what, and the romance was like insta-love, and then they move in together. And I was like, well, that escalated quickly, and I really didn't gel with it, and I won't be continuing on in the series. Number 7 is Queenie. This one I had really high expectations for because someone had mentioned it was like Bridget Jones' Diary, but from a Black point of view in the UK. That is a complete lie. So I went into it thinking it was going to be funny and witty, but actually it's just this super sad examination of this woman's life where she's kind of having a life crisis and a mental breakdown, and she needs real help. So I think that if I had known what the novel was, I wouldn't have read it because I really don't like reading mental breakdown stories as someone who struggles with her own mental health. So it was just a case of what I had been told was not what happened. So it's nothing to do with the book's fault. It's just unfortunate that that is what I had been told, and I didn't get what I thought I was getting. Number 6 is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This one I really was interested in the idea of this magic school where it's kind of built like a top, and every layer of the top kind of rotates. So the rooms are constantly moving, the floors are constantly moving, and in order to graduate you have to just survive because all the monsters in the school are out to kill you, and it's actually a lot of people do die and get, you know, murdered. However, my problems with the book was that There was very poor character development, very poor character backstory or fleshing out of characters. There was also a very weird, odd Insta relationship type thing happening where like the love interest, he says like 5 words the whole book and we're just told that he's amazing, but actually there's no chemistry between the main character and him. And then afterwards I did learn that a lot of people found there to be racist rhetoric throughout the novel. So that's why this is disappointing, because this was the first Naomi Novik I've read and it will certainly be my last. I just really don't think she's for me. And I don't think that the writing style is for me at all. And maybe I'm just too old for magic schools. I don't know. Number 5, Pet Semetary by Stephen King. Let's just get it out of the way here. So I think his writing style is very drawn out. What needs a sentence to be said, he takes pages to say. I saw all the twists coming and I just thought it was like boring and overhyped. I'm not a fan. So I don't think I'll be continuing on, seeing as he recently came out in support of J.K. Rowling's latest book, which involved a man who dresses as a woman to murder people. So questionable. King, why would you say that you supported that book and that you really enjoyed it? I'm just left with a lot of questions and yeah, just very disappointed. So bye. Number 4 is Fledgling by Octavia Butler. And this one hurts me because I have read Butler before. Her imagination is top-notch and I love what she creates. And this is a vampire story. So I was anticipating this so highly. I thought that this was going to blow my mind. So it opens and we're following a young vampire who has just woken up. She had been murdered, but her body healed itself. And as she wakes up, she's very young and she's trying to find out what happened and who killed her entire coven. It sounds interesting. However, there were 2 main issues I think that I had with this book that really just dragged it down and put it on this list for me. One is that it's described, I think she has like the body of like a 9 or 11-year-old, even though she's older, but it's described that like she takes multiple lovers throughout the book that bond with her and they're like adults and she has the body of like a 9 or 11-year-old and I'm like, it's so weird though, like icky. The other problem is that about 2/3 of the way through, this becomes a courtroom case procedural, which, why did you do that? Why? So unfortunately, this was super disappointing and I'm really, really sad about it and a little bit bitter to this day. Number 3 is 77. This I had super high expectations for. It is about a gay university professor of English who is documenting his life under the government regime that is disappearing people. I thought it was going to be really interesting because he's living a double life and he's trying to protect himself and also the people he cares for. However, it was so boring, so boring. I almost put it down multiple times and I also just felt like I was drowning in the deluge of names and places and dates. So I ended up giving this one to my husband and he's currently reading it. I don't know if he's liking it so far, but it certainly wasn't for me and I was just super disappointed. Number 2 is Bunny by Awad. So this I had such high expectations for. It is kind of this coven-y university type book where this girl joins this cliquey group of other girls and they do dark magic and she wants to get in with them, so she starts to do magic with them. And basically, I don't know, the first 75% of the book, I was like, yes, this is it. How is it going to end? And then the end, no spoilers, completely left me puzzled. I am bamboozled. What happened? Why did it happen? What does that mean? Will we ever know? No, we won't. So I think I ended up giving this 4 stars, and the reason that it's so high on this disappointment list is that if the end had been better, this could have been a 4.5 or a 5 star for me, because I love it dark, I love it a little witchy, and I love weird stuff. You don't have to explain everything, okay? I like an air of mystery, but you have to explain some things. You have to explain something, okay? So yeah, I just wish that this had been better, because this would have been one of my favorites. And instead, it fell into the 4 stars. And my most disappointing book of the year was Darling Rose Gold by Stephanie Wrobel. I had been hyping this book up all of last year. This was one of my most anticipated reads of the year. So it's basically this woman, when she was a child, her mother allegedly was doing Munchausen's by proxy, where the mother makes her feel like she's sick and she can't do anything. And when she found that out, she told the authorities and got her mother put in jail. And now when her mother is leaving prison, the mother wants to move in with her to control her again, but it says like the daughter is ready. So I was expecting some epic cat and mouse game where you're not sure like who to believe, because both perspectives are messed up and you don't know who's right, who's wrong, who's doing what's really happening. I was ready. But actually it just did not live up to the hype, and this might be my own fault. I will say that, because I had been hyping this book for a year, and you know when you just think that you're gonna love something so much, it puts it maybe on a pedestal. But this was largely forgettable. Like right now, I don't remember how it ended. I just remembered that I read it and I was like, huh, okay. Which is not how you want that kind of book to make you feel. Like I wanted to be blown away, grossed out, completely surprised. Like, yeah, so that is my most disappointing read, because I had possibly the highest expectations and it really didn't deliver. It was more of a middle of the road, not bad by any means, but definitely not my best book of the year. So yeah, that wraps up the 10 books that I was most disappointed by in 2020. Let me know if you agree or disagree down below. The next video coming up is my worst books of 2020, which I can't wait to film because I'm feeling really salty today. So yeah, get excited for that one, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!